Welcome to day 2862 of What You Have to Know. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting the journey, sharing lessons learned as I move from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of businesses and back and forth again. Pandemic made me very glad that I had already discovered the online world a couple of years before, and that I was already creating content on a daily basis. I think I've been creating daily content since 2018. So I was glad that I was doing that because it gave me something to focus on and do during the pandemic when everything else had been pretty much blown up for the vast majority of people on this planet's lives. So today we're talking about No Nonsense November. Today's day 30, the last day of our 30-day challenge. And we're talking about finishing strong, looking at what we accomplished and really celebrating the wins that we've had during the month. Have we had any breakthroughs or shifts, or are we doing anything differently? Do we create a new habit or system for our life or our business? Anything that we've done, anything that we've really improved in, we want to write those all down so that we can keep track of them. And the power of just writing them down, and if you're even braver, share them, is that we create more of that. We send out in the universe, yeah, I like these wins. I want to keep having wins coming into my life, or things for me to celebrate and appreciate. For example, I pulled every day. I did a card pull from the Getting Into the Vortex deck by Baxter and Jerry Kicks. And I didn't realize until a few days ago that that whole deck is about relationships, which is interesting because I couldn't figure out during the month, well, why are all these about relationships? But that is why, because the whole deck is about relationships. But today's is everything is always working out for me, which is one of my favorite beliefs and sayings. I have an affirmation that I say every day. Everything is working out perfectly for me because the universe is rigged in my favor. I love that because if I support that and I believe that, guess what? Whenever a problem or a situation or a challenge comes up, I know that I'm not on my own to figure it out. I know that there's a solution for sure, and that I will see it or find it, or the right person or the right thing will come along at the exact right time to help me solve that problem and do better with whatever it is that the challenge is. And then today's, and I did remember to share this today, by the way, in the Be a Better You Annual Challenge. Dr. Dyer's Everyday Wisdom for Success. Love this book because there's so much wisdom in it. If you just read one thing a day, one positive message a day to start your day, boy, does that have a huge impact on how you see the rest of your day and all the experiences that you have during that day. Abundance is about looking at life and knowing that you have everything you need for complete happiness, and then being able to celebrate each and every moment on earth. Why? Because we're not waiting for some future time, or we're not reliving the past. We're living in the present moment, and the present moment is the only time we can live in. So why wouldn't we choose to be happy as often as we can right now? I used to be frustrated all the time, and I realized it was because I had defined frustration as anytime something wasn't going the way I wanted it to, I would get frustrated. It was like an automatic. Talk about an horrible limiting belief that I had set up for myself by defining something in a way that was ridiculous. Because guess what? How often does everything in your life go exactly how you would expect it to? Like never, right? I don't think, sometimes it goes better, sometimes it goes worse, but it's never exactly like you expect it to roll out and happen and fall in place. So I basically was setting myself up to be frustrated all the time. And guess what I was? Frustrated all the time. And it wasn't until I was aware of that and realized, oh my God, I am absolutely positively undermining myself by setting myself up for failure. And I changed the way I define frustration and what it takes for me to get frustrated. Now, I had a revisit from that challenge just this, since my granddaughters had been born, and I realized that I was expecting things to be a certain way, and so I would get frustrated. If I had to ask a toddler something more than 3 times, I would get frustrated. That was my new definition. What a terrible definition, because you usually have to ask a toddler something at least 10 times before they even acknowledge that you exist, right? So I had to, again, revamp my definition of frustration. Now, if I have to ask it 3 times, I just start laughing at myself because I know that that's ridiculous. You know what? People have to ask me something more than 3 times sometimes if I'm focused on something else and I'm focused on my priorities. I'm not focused on their priorities. Hope that makes sense. So this was a good little fun exercise I did every day in November. Will I keep it up in December? I doubt it because I've got a bunch of other commitments that I'm doing, but I will keep it handy so that I can pull it up whenever I want to, which is what I do. I've got it within hand's reach. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 card decks and 2 of these little books. Why? Because some days I just wake up and I'm like, I need a little pick-me-up because my brain isn't in the exact right place. It usually is now. I pretty much wake up since my sudden cardiac arrest every day above ground is a good day. And I think it's interesting because I really resonated with that expression early on in my personal development and learning. I can't remember. I can see his face, but I cannot remember his name, who taught us that. And I think he got it probably from Jim Rohn or somebody. But I carried around actually his business card in my wallet for probably 15 years because he had that on the card. And every time I opened my wallet, I would see that, and it was a little reminder that I need to appreciate every day that I'm alive. Now, little did I know that that was going to be a really positive belief for me to adopt, because in 2010 I had a sudden cardiac arrest and dropped dead in one of my businesses. And so I actually credit some of the personal development work, which wasn't nearly enough yet, that I had been doing to me being able to survive that situation. Long story for another day. So we are wrapping up No Nonsense November. We're going into December for the 30-day challenge, which or not the 30-day, the annual challenge, which I'm covering in both my Supersize Your Business group and now in my Supersize Your Business School platform and in the Be a Better You annual challenge. I think next year's annual challenge is going to be Supersize You. And as part of that, for Supersize Your Business, I'm involved in a 6-month challenge that starts tomorrow to help do that, to help people reach 10K months. And I'm starting a whole new business to structure and demonstrating that is entirely possible in 6 months. And then next year's challenge. And for December, we will be hopping into reviewing what we did this year, looking at our priorities, looking at how much we've changed and grown in each of the different 9 areas and aspects of our life, celebrating that, and then saying, okay, so here we are now. What's going to happen next year? What do we want to do next year? What are our goals for next year in each of these 9 areas and aspects of our life? I do this every year, every December, for myself, and I'm like, if I'm doing it for myself, why am I not sharing that with other people? Because it's definitely helped me to stay on track and move in the direction I want to. Am I all the way where I want to be? No, because I have these bodaciously audacious, crazy goals that I usually won't even tell people because they would just say, you're crazy. and that's all right, because crazy people are the ones, not nuts people, but people that are crazy and passionate about the thing that they want will create that change in the world and the thing that they want to see in the world. All right, if I can help you in any way, my voice is kind of coming back, so feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have an absolutely amazing day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.